guys, welcome back to the Feral Housewife. Today we're gonna do something really yummy, molten lava red velvet cakes. And guys, this recipe is so good. And guess what? There's no food coloring. We're actually gonna make that with beets. And we're gonna use that nice bright red color from the beets to get that beautiful red color that we're gonna have as the red velvet. It's not overly sweet either, which is super nice. We let the center of the lava cake shine as the sweetness part of it, whereas the batter is more on a slightly sweet side. So it kind of balances it out and it makes it really nice and taste and texture. Beets make the batter actually really moist too, so it's not dry. But this one is really nice and moist, so you never kind of get that dry feeling. It's all really molten lava-y. So without further ado, let's get into the recipe. Let's go. Okay, so we're gonna start with the beets. So I've got a double boiler here full of a little bit of water in the bottom, and it's got a strainer so that it can steam the vegetables while retaining all the nutrients inside. So this beet is about 5 ounces, and that's all you need for this recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into the boiler with some boiling water. And we're gonna let that go for about half an hour. Now it's time for the filling. So we're gonna go ahead and put some butter. We've got about 5 tablespoons of room temperature butter and 400 or what was it? Half a brick of cream cheese. I'll put the measurement down in the comments. But anyways, half of one of those little cream cheese bricks. So we're gonna beat these two in our stand mixer, and we're gonna use the whip attachment, which I'll show you guys in just a second. We're gonna throw our cream cheese and the butter into our bowl. Start this on slow speed at first. Okay, so now that those are creamed together, we can go ahead and gradually add our powdered sugar. So I've got 2 cups of it in here, but I'm only going to add 1 right now. Alright, so we're going to scrape the sides. I've got some really delicious homemade vanilla extract, so I'm just going to use about a teaspoon of that. Just going to plunk it in there. And I've also got about 300 mils or 1 1/4 cups of whipping cream that we're also going to add to our mixture. So we're going to beat this until this is nice, smooth, and thick on high speed. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the fridge, and then we're going to come back and make the rest of our stuff while it's cooling in our fridge. So my beet is done, and I've chopped and peeled it, and now we're just gonna go ahead and put it in our food processor, blender, whatever you have. And we're gonna put 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar in there along with it. Alright, so we're going to add some melted butter and buttermilk to our beets. So here I've got about 90 milliliters of melted butter. You can use canola oil. And I've got about 95 mils of buttermilk. we can add 2 eggs. Great size one more time. So for our dry ingredients, we are going to go ahead and use 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 1/2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. And just a pinch of fine sea salt. So let's whisk these up together. Really making sure to get all of those little clusters or clumps, break them up really good. Now is the fun part, we get to add in our beets. We're gonna whisk this until it's just combined, because we don't want the gluten in the flour to make our cakes too chewy. We want it to be nice and fluffy. One important little last step, I'm just going to add a touch of vanilla. That's it. Not even a full teaspoon, just a tiny bit. Okay, so now I've got 12 muffin tins, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grease them with some butter. Okay, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of powdered sugar in each one. And we're gonna spread it around the edges of the tin, and this will act so that the cakes won't get stuck inside. Just kind of pat it so that it kind of gets everywhere in there. Okay, so time for the fun part. We have our greased and, what do you call this, floured? It's not floured, sugared. Our sugared dish. So, we've got our batter and we have our filling. So this is really important because if you fill these things too much, they overflow and make your oven a complete mess, and don't ask me how I know this. So, I'm going to zoom you guys in so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to fill this, not even halfway, I'm doing like a quarter. Let's do a quarter of this little pan. Basically, we're just going to pipe some of this into the batter. It's kind of like this. No more than a couple tablespoons. And then, we're going to take some more batter. I'm just going to spoon it lightly on top. Just like that. Okay, so let's do the same for the rest. Just a little bit of batter down there. A couple tablespoons of filling. So this is the perfect height. See how there's lots of room for this to come up? And you will also want to make sure that all of the filling is covered by the batter. So that's how that should look like. Okay, so these are ready to go into the oven, and we'll see them in about 15 minutes. We're going to let these sit for just a minute, and then we're going to flip them around so that they will be ready to serve. As you guys saw, even with me putting less of the filling inside these things, they basically explode. They're like the ultimate definition of a lava cake. So what I would recommend, just in case, they're still good, even with all of the exploding happening, they're still super good. So maybe just put like a tin foil or like a baking sheet underneath your muffin pans or whatever it is that you're using, just in case, because otherwise they just kind of, they're super delicious, but they tend to explode. So expert tips. Just gonna run your knife around the edge of the little cakes. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more filling. And then we're gonna flip it. There we go. Perfect little lava cake. Definitely add more filling after they're baked as well, because that really gives it that ooey gooey, super yummy lava taste and texture to it. I think next time I might try adding a little bit more chocolate. So instead of 1.5 tablespoons, I think I would do maybe 2 or 2.5 and see how that goes. Just because, I don't know, I love chocolate and I think that it needed just a little bit more kick of chocolate in there. But besides that, I really like that we use the beets to create that red color so we don't have all that gross chemicals in the food. Anyways, I would definitely do this recipe again. Just maybe add more chocolate and a little less filling when we're baking it, and then a little bit more when we're done. I think that would make it really yummy. So I'm gonna add a little dollop of whipped cream. A little bit more of the topping, or the filling I should say. Powdered sugar. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know below in the comments which ones you'd like to see in my next video, and we'll see you soon.